You want to record that?
Yeah.
I was just kidding. This is where I was gonna kill you.
Huh?
This is where I was gonna kill you.
Is it? Hey guys, hi YouTube, welcome back to my channel. So there's a video that went viral of this black woman that went hiking or on a date with this white man, and in the video as they were running, you know, pretty much the white guy made a joke that he was gonna unalive her in this particular area of the tunnel. So the video goes viral and a lot of black women are like warning her, like, you need to be careful and things like that. I mean, everybody was really like, girl, you need to watch out, like, this is not funny, right? A lot of people will do a lot of things for views. I think that was one of the things, the reason she posted it. And a lot of people were like warning her, and she pretty much was like, it's a joke, like, for people to like kind of stop with the comments, right? And the reason I think people are really, especially black women, are like being protective and trying to warn her is because we know, for example, like the story of Jenae in Zanzibar, you know, where her fiance at the time took her to a trip in Zanzibar and she came back in a coffin, you know. So yes, there's things that are jokes, and people will do a lot of things to get views, but at the end of the day, safety is something that is so important for us women in general, because there's been stories back to back where women, you know, went somewhere with a man and didn't come back. You know, it's been, whether it's hiking, it's been, you know, certain parts like where they went to meet at their house and all that. And especially, we've seen a lot that has happened to a lot of black women and even just black people in general, where they went missing and unalived, and, you know, it's not been solved. So, you know, some stuff is still in the air. Nobody knows what the heck happened. So I don't think this is some of the things that you should really post and talk about, because it's a very sensitive topic, especially with the times that we're in, like where people, you know, are just unalived and they're gone missing, or nobody can figure out what the heck happened to them. I really love how a lot of women really were in her comments, like, sometimes, you know how they say, like, when somebody shows you who they are, you know, believe them. So this might be a joke now, but we don't know in the future what could possibly happen. And also, certain things you just shouldn't be joking about. But the reason I did this video was to start talking about safety in general as a woman, especially if you're dating as a woman in a marriage and things like that. Things can happen. Your safety is always important, and you have to watch out, because you could be your partner that does something to you that unalives you. It could be the person you went on a date with. It could be walking down the street and something happens to you by a man. So safety when it comes to women is something that is it's a big issue. We know as women, you just never know. So for me, this is not something to play around with. So I wanted to talk about some of the things that you can do definitely to be safe. I know when I was in a lot of apps, these are some of the things that I did, because what I noticed is, like, a lot of dating apps, when you're on them, there's a lot of men that will offer you to go to their house or for them to come to your house. You have to shut that down. That's a no. Always meet in public spaces where there's people, where you're able to get away. If they offer to pick you up, I would say no. You know, go there and meet them somehow halfway yourself in a public setting. Another thing that I used to do is, if we came to a point where, you know, he picked me up and we were going out, I would always make sure that whatever picture that they gave me, I keep it in my phone. And I would also make sure that I took a picture of their number plate and all that stuff. And what I would do is text it to myself in case I was dating, for example, at the time, you know, and I didn't want people, you know, my family members, like, knowing everything that was going on. Because, you know, in African culture, you don't want to be just talking about dating this person, dating that person, if you're not serious yet. So I would always keep it to myself a lot of times. So what I did, I would message, you know, all that to myself and keep it in the phone. Because what I've noticed is, like, when things do happen to people, they can retrace and look back at your phone to see your conversations and all of that. So sometimes then they can see that, oh, there's a picture. So I would say things like, oh, this person, we went here, he took me here, blah, 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 blah. So there's always that trace. So you always want to leave traces somewhere. Or if you have friends that you telling that, hey, this is what I'm doing, let them know the plan. Like, okay, I'm going to be going to this restaurant with this person, blah, blah, blah. Like, keep an eye, have your phone close by or whatever. So when people are offering like hikes and going to the woods or even certain parks, you have to be careful, because if it's somewhere that's secluded in some way, you can really be stuck there. Let's say, for example, the person is really in great health and they could beat you at running and chase you and all that stuff. You have to know, like, it's in an area where you can easily get out. So for me, hiking and going to the woods and all that was a lot of no's. I had to have known you a little bit better. But in general, I think at the end of the day, this type of video is just something that you shouldn't play around with. You should really be careful when it comes to your safety. I think I've just seen things that have gone down that have been really awful for a lot of women. And so I think this is why everybody was on guard about it. I definitely know, for example, like, have some stuff. Like, I carry my keys now that are mixed with a little knife. And I was going to add a pepper spray and all that with me, just in case. Always make sure, like, you know, if you're in the car with the person, you know, that they're not locked, you're not locked in, you know. And just beware of your surrounding, and pay attention. Some people can give you signals that definitely something is off. I always used to make jokes, you know, whenever somebody offered, like, oh, let's go to the woods, I'm like, are you going to chop me up and all that? And they'd be like, I'm not going to do that. I'm like, or the people that would say, oh, I'm a good guy, like, I wouldn't do that. And I'm like, well, I don't know you. So at the end of the day, I became very iffy about people in general. I had two incidents that happened that may have put me in a really not the best situation at the time. I was kind of stupid. But later on, I realized, because I had one person that I went on a date with a couple years ago, and what ended up happening is he had this bottle mixed with juice, and I think it was alcohol. So he had been driving the whole time. I didn't realize that he was super drunk. So we ended up on the road where he was like swerving and all this stuff. So pretty much, you know, I had to cancel everything and tell him to stop. Like, I had to find a way to get back home, you know, because he was drunk. So that was one incident that could have put myself at risk. Another one was somebody who got very, like, kind of aggressive. They got mad and angry because I just was like, this is not working out. So we went into to go eat, whatever. And at the time I was like, I don't want to eat, like, I want to go back home. And they started being really aggressive, and kind of like pushy, like, why am I acting like I have an attitude and all this stuff at the time, because I just already picked up that something about him I just did not like. Their tone was weird, like, so I had those incidents that happened to me. And so I always tell people, be careful, like, and especially as a woman, just be careful and watch out about, you know, where you're going. And, you know, if you're taking trips, for example, like, have backup money in case you're stuck somewhere in another country, because some people know those places well, so they take you there for a reason. But I think it's just general, and women have to worry about their safety a lot. And also that, you know, especially black women now, you know, we've seen things that are happening on the news where black women have disappeared, unalived, and they can't even solve what the heck happened. So that's why I think this video was kind of like, whoa, you know.